My name's John Powell. I am Programme Manager with Opportunity Sheffield. I'm going to talk about Opportunity Sheffield really briefly, but the reason I'm here is to talk about why we should be sort of encouraging these guys and some of the capacity building projects, the capacity building project we delivered. So quickly, Opportunity Sheffield is the new employment and skills team, basically. So the employment and skills team in Sheffield, we've rebranded as Opportunity Sheffield. We've got like a new purple logo. Everything is purple. I'm sure my man Eve hates it. She does. I'm sure she does. But you'll see, we're sort of building the brand at the moment, and so you will see Opportunity Sheffield more and more and more. We deliver a range of projects and services, and to help move people closer to the labour market. We work with employers to recruit and help train their current staff. These are some of the programs. You're rustling a bit. These are some of the programs that we deliver. We do traineeships. We do a work experience project. We do apprenticeships ready, where we go into schools and talk to young people about becoming apprentices as they leave school. We've got the 100 scheme, which is another apprenticeship scheme within the council. And we do Sheffield's Working. So Sheffield's Working is one of the programs that I manage. It's an employment support program. It's got about 10 projects in it at the moment. And it's designed to support people with significant barriers to employment to work. Yeah, our delivery partners in Sheffield's Working, third sector providers pretty much. They've got a sound local knowledge and offer good employment support. The projects range from neighbourhood employability, working with people with ethnic minorities, learning disabilities and people with mental health conditions. Big ambitions. So 2 years ago, for Sheffield's Working, we decided that we were going to commission an independent evaluation just to see if we were doing the right thing and how we were doing and if there was changes that needed to be made, that sort of thing. Following this evaluation, we decided to commission a series of capacity building workshops. This was based on remarks in the evaluation and feedback from our delivery partners. So we wanted to do a capacity building workshop to make sure that our delivery partners had the sufficient skills and awareness to enable them to do the job properly. So anyway, some of these sessions were around recognising mental health challenges. This was one that was specifically requested by the partners themselves. Then we want to look at the key elements of the employability service. So, you know, what does good look like as a provider? Understanding the Sheffield City region, so where the jobs are, what sectors are likely to grow, what skills are valued in short supply, marketing and communications for the third sector, so using like the likes of LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, that sort of thing to build your profile, and sort of benefit entitlement, that sort of thing. I mean, at the moment we've had two sessions on. We had one on Tuesday, and we've got another one next week around universal credit, just for basically our providers to, not to teach them everything about universal credit, because we wouldn't want that, but just to sort of give them an overview as to what's coming, and you know, and not to freak them out so much. So through these workshops, we want to help our service providers build up their existing knowledge and skill base. We didn't want it to be training for training's sake, so we want it to be valuable to the frontline worker. So we asked Scott of IEP to work with Vaz and see if we could tie some of the workshops in to elements of CPD and link into some of the learning and development on the websites. The workshops in the main, I'm not going to go into too much detail about what the workshops were, but they were well received, and many of our delivery partners now have signed up as IEP members, and they're continuing their learning and development and to add to the skills that they already have through their life experiences. What we know as a commissioner is that to get the best out of our workforce, you need to make sure they have all the tools available to do the best job they can. So I'm going to just talk to you briefly about me It's beginning to feel a bit like a meeting today, isn't it? You've got like Justin with his problems and like Niall. But I'm just going to talk about me and how, how I got to this place and into employability. So I grew up in Hackney, East London. I wasn't a bad boy. Wasn't always best behaved. I wasn't always best behaved, but I wasn't that bad. But like my peers at the time, some of my peers, I was young and dumb, pretty much. I'm a lot better now. Yeah. So anyway, when I was younger, I had an episode of dumbness, and that led me to, this is where I was at school, and that led me to a place a couple of times a week instead of school called Apex Trust. And Apex Trust was a rehabilitation centre for ex-offenders, or, I wasn't an ex-offender, don't worry, or people that were in danger of offending. So I was, young boy, I thought I was something, you know what I mean, but I wasn't. Anyway, went to this place. It was pretty much run by people that had been inside, including volunteers, and and some of the stories that they told me sort of like scared me straight. So, there was no danger of me going to prison. But I really, at that point, up and all through school, people had said, "What do you want to do?" I don't know. When I got to Apex Trust, I kind of realised this is what I want to do. I want to help people that have, maybe made bad decisions or maybe want to do something else. I wanted to help them. And I thought, this would be fantastic. This would be perfect. So started volunteering there when when I wasn't I didn't have to, sort of go down there for weekends. They had all sorts of things going on, silk screen printing and pool table. We had our own football club. It was fantastic. And so I went away, worked on a summer camp, and then whilst I was in the summer camp, they called me, Apex Trust called me, offered me a job. Well, fantastic. So I got there, started there as an administrator, started to save a bit of money. But as I said, I was young and dumb, so I left there because I had too much money. So I just thought, oh, right, you know what, I can go travelling or do something. What? Yeah, I'm an idiot. So anyway, that was my first foray into welfare to work. I moved on after I left Apex Trust. I met somebody, we had 2 kids. It was like, it was crazy. It was a little bit, different. And started studying social work at Kingston University. Then I had to take, my girl's mum became ill, so I took sole care of the children, and then moved back to London. And it was a real struggle. There were about 2 or 3 at the time. So anyway, we managed to get sorted, and after about a year, I was going stir crazy, so I thought I need to find work. So I picked up the Hackney Gazette, and it was the first day I decided I'm going to get work. So picked up the Hackney Gazette, and I saw a job, and it said lone parent advisor. So I thought, well, I phoned up. I said, I've got no idea about doing this job, but I'm a lone parent. So she was really nice as a woman. She said, oh, this is the job, blah, blah, blah. I thought, well, I could do that. So she goes, come in, we'll have a chat. So we had a chat, and then, they must have took pity on me. Or there wasn't too many of us around, do you know what I mean? Men, lone parents that were like, so maybe she thought novelty. So I got the job, and that was about 20 odd years ago, and I've been doing the sort of a similar role ever since. But in those 20 years, what I've not stopped doing is I've not stopped trying to get better and trying to learn and trying to figure out different ways to do things and better ways to do things, because things change, do you know what I mean? I'm no longer young, I'm no longer got hair, I'm not in that great a shape, but things that, like CVs are not the same as we used to do, you know what I mean? They're different 20 years ago to how they are now. So we didn't have that much social media then, we do now. So it's about sort of like being aware that things are changing, and you have to keep in touch with things that are changing. So that's why this is really good, because it's about making sure that the workforce stays relevant. That's why, when we had this capacity building thing, we thought, okay, let's get IEP involved. next one. This is going to be real. I'm nearly finished now. That was my journey. The point of this story is that, like many others, I got a job in this area because not because I studied to get there, but it was because of my empathy with the client group. So, you know, at one stage I knew what was going in the mindset of some of the ex-offenders, so I could relate to them. Another point in my life, I knew what it was like to be a lone parent, and sort of like, so I could connect with them on some level. And many of like the advisors and things that are working at the moment will have had a similar journey. I've seen, you know, some of our providers have not necessarily come through, they've come through a route where they've lived in this area the whole of their life. They know that area, they know the community and whatever, so it makes sense that we should employ those people within that role. True empathy, I think, is something that you can't teach, but knowledge, techniques and approaches are. So this is where IEP, VAS, capacity building comes into their own. So a little training to educate and refresh, aligned with empathy and the understanding that the advisors already have, will result in a perfect employability advisor, I think. So I've been quite lucky in the fact that where I work, if I wasn't doing this, we put on a capacity building project for our providers just because we wanted to have the best providers. If I wasn't here, we'd still be doing it because the organisation that I work for and the boss that I work for, I mean, I won't say that she's a bully, but it's one of these things where you say, you know, she'll say, are we doing this? We should be doing this. Why aren't we doing this? Do this. So, so if it would be, yeah, it's my last day. Thank you, everybody. So anyway, yeah, I think that was about it, really. I just want to say that we are going to continue to do capacity building. We are going to try and do the best for our advisors. And if anybody wants to, you know, working with or whatever, you want to join in and collaborate and, you know, do some kind of joint training, well, yeah, let's talk. Yeah? Okay.